Okay, let's get started.
Ghosts are real. That much I know.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha. If this is the first time here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can get notification every single time that I post a video, and I post every single week. As you can see from the title, today's video I'm going to be giving you guys my full review with spoilers of The Exorcist Believer. This one came out in theaters back in October 6th, but finally I got the chance to watch it this week, so here we have my review. Now, as always, all my reviews are with spoilers. If you don't want them, just to see if this was worth it or not, on the description box down below, there you're going to find my spoiler-free review, because I like to give you guys two options. Saying all that in the disclaimers, let's get into the video. The Exorcist Believer is directed by David Gordon Green. Yes, the same guy that did Halloween's trilogy with Blumhouse, and this one follows two girls that disappear into the woods and return 3 days later with no memory of what happened to them. The father of one girl seeks out Chris McNeil, who has been forever altered by what happened to her daughter 15 years ago. To give a brief summary of the story, the film opens with a couple in Puerto Príncipe, Haiti, and when they are on the island, an earthquake happens, and as a result of this, the woman that is pregnant, she ends up trapped in the building that she was in. And then we return to the present, that is 13 years after the events, and we have the girl that is called Angela and her father that is called Victor. As a result of these events, he has now lost all of his faith in God. And Angela and her friend Catherine, they're going to try with a ritual to try to reconnect with Angela's mother. This is when the girls get lost, and after 3 days they are found. They have their feet burned and they are in a very bad state, but they cannot remember what happened. After this, we're going to be seeing that little by little the girls are going to start to rot from the inside out, and we see that they are getting worse and worse. Victor is advised to look for Chris McNeil, that 50 years ago had to experience something similar and put her daughter Regan throughout an exorcism. Of course, we know that these are the events that we saw on the film on 1973. Chris McNeil reappears, and she's going to try to help Victor and also Catherine's parents in order to save these two girls, because they are both being possessed. But they are also advised that they should do a combination of religions. So this is why when they do the exorcism, they have several members of several religions in order to save the girls. Unfortunately, this does not happen. Demons tell the parents that only one of the girls is going to survive and that they need to choose. At first, they decide that Catherine is the one that is going to survive, but this was a trick, and in fact, the girl that was going to be chosen is the one that is going to die. And of course, as a result, Angela is able to survive the exorcism, but Catherine dies. During the film, we also learned that Chris has a broken relationship with her daughter after what happened, but the film concludes with Chris reunited with her daughter, that is once again portrayed by Linda Blair. And this is essentially the film. Now, getting very quick into my review. If you saw my trailer reaction, my review and opinion of this film is not going to surprise you, but if you didn't, in that video I basically said that for me the trailer looked that the film was going to be basic, generic, and nothing too exciting. And I still stand with that opinion. I went with an open mind. I didn't have high expectations of the film. I went looking for something to have a good time. Maybe it was going to be a very good film, similar to what happened with Halloween of 2018, that ended up being a very good film. That is by the same guy, David Gordon Green. But this wasn't the case. For me, this film is an unnecessary sequel. I don't really get why the hell they decided to do this. Because if Blumhouse was looking to do a trilogy about exorcism or supernatural horror, they could have done it on a very more original way. They could have done a completely original story instead of being tied to one of the biggest and most known horror films ever and the franchise. So I think that is the biggest issue, because probably if this film wasn't attached to it, probably it would have been a little bit better, because this film is trying way too hard into being attached to the film, but at the same time to trying to be original, and it never finds a balance between being attached to a horror classic but also trying to be something new and becoming a sequel and the first film of an upcoming trilogy. It's trying to be way too many things at once and it's not working. And this film is even 2 hours. So that was more than enough time to try to make the balance, but unfortunately it did not happen. Chris McNeil character, in my opinion, what they did is a disgrace and is so disrespectful. I mean, she, on the first film, she is a mother, an actress that suffers for her daughter. It's a very sad situation. And honestly, what they did to this character, it feels the same way. I felt it the same way with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from Netflix and what they did to Sally. And the ending of the character, at least this one, didn't have that same outcome. But for a moment, I actually thought that Chris McNeil was going to die, because that happens. They bring a legacy character and they kill it, but in this case she survived. It caught me off guard seeing Linda Blair, that's for sure. I wasn't expecting her for her to appear, because I searched and I never found anything about her being involved in the film. I actually even questioned when I did the trailer reaction why she's not here. And they could have simply done it as Chris McNeil appearing, looking for her daughter, but never showing her, leaving that moment of suspense if that's really Linda Blair or not. But in this case, it's her. So that really got me off guard. But for the rest, this film was extremely predictable. It doesn't bring nothing new either to the horror genre or the franchise. The reality is that I tried to look this film with different perspective, because one, we need to see it as the first one of an upcoming trilogy. This is not a good start. And the second film is supposed to be coming on 2025. So after all the reactions and reviews that this film has received, maybe they're going to be changing some things, maybe for the better. Maybe they're going to stick to what they have. Only time will tell if they're ever going to be making the third film. But also the fact that if you're sitting down to make an Exorcist marathon, you start, if you want, with one of the prequels. You have two if you want to. Of course, that's not mandatory because they aren't that good. Then you have The Exorcist from 1973, that is a very good film, and it's one of the best horror films to ever exist. And then you have to choose between The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, and The Exorcist Believer. If that was me, I will go with the third option, that is watching the series, because the series is a sequel of the 1973 film, and it's actually very good. It's honestly something that is worth watching. If you haven't done it already, it's just 20 episodes, but it's worth watching. Even more than watching The Heretic, that in my opinion is the worst one of the franchise and one of the worst sequels to ever exist. If you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. The third one is a little bit better. But comparing The Heretic with Exorcist Believer, The Exorcist Believer is a little bit better, that's for sure. But being on the perspective of watching the 1973 film and then going to The Exorcist Believer is like doing this and then dropping. There's no consistency, and it doesn't make a good experience watching a really good film and then watching something that does not even compare or aligns with it. But like I said, it's a better option than watching The Heretic. Now, when it comes to the acting, the score, the cinematography, all of that is very generic. Nothing outstanding. The girls are probably the best part. I think that these two, they did a pretty good job. It was very convincing. The makeup, I can say that was good, at least what is expected for this type of films. I think that they did a pretty good job with that. The girls look creepy as hell, so that's something. This is a film that honestly I feel that could have gone straight to streaming service, and probably was going to be a little bit better than watching it in movie theaters. So for me, this film is a 1.5 out of 5 and a 4 out of 10. Honestly, part of me is hoping that they're going to learn from these mistakes and make the second one better. But if David Gordon Green didn't learn his lesson already with Halloween, that I have stated several times, I did not hate them, but as a trilogy, it didn't work. I know that there were a lot of people that hated Kills and Ends. In my personal opinion, as individual films of the franchise, I enjoyed them, but when you put them together as a trilogy, they could have done it a little bit better. The first one, it's amazing, that's for sure, but he could have learned a little bit with that, but I think that he didn't. But I'm really hoping that with this one, he will learn and he will be able to make a better film on the next one. But well, I think that this is all. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below what do you thought about this film. Do you like it? You didn't? Were you expecting this film to be like this? You had high hopes that this film was going to be good? Let me know. But well, thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys on my next video. Bye.
Ghosts are real. That much I know.